Again, I was cut out. So I was talking about my mother, and I was talking about how to prepare for if you're homeless. That's the 2 points in this. I wanted to go over my mother's mental illness, how she was seeing people in the hallway, messing around with pharmaceuticals with a young orphan boy, messing around with pills. She was popping her son's pills when he was a teenager. His son got a prescription of Vicodin from the emergency room, and less than 7 days later, my mother is popping the pills. She gets caught popping her son's Vicodin, and the father does not help with their mental illness at all. Actually, my father lets her continue popping those Vicodin from the closet, and not only that, I was punished and yelled at for trying to help. I brought this to my father. I said, Mom is mentally ill, popping my Vicodin, she's taking my prescriptions. But then my mother had a very good excuse. It's only one time. It's only one time. And my father goes, Zach, it's only one time. Why are you checking on her anyways? So you got that shit going on. So as I tried to help my mother with her mental illness, my father would feed it. Just like when she was seeing people that weren't there in the hallway. I'm sleeping. I get woken up at who knows what time of the hour. It's probably about 2 a.m. My mother's shaking me, waking me, and I said, What's going on? My mother goes, I saw people in the hallway. I saw people in the hallway. I go, It's probably to your TV. Go back to bed. Now, something you need to know about me is I had no friends, nobody ever at the house. Not for 5 years, never. There was never anybody in the morning, never anybody in the afternoon, never anybody at night. There was never anybody at any time. And actually, my friends and my family had all told me why that is. My mother and father. I've had my girlfriend, Angly Beth, come crying from my family, crying that my family is scary and horrible. I had another girlfriend, an African American girlfriend, cry and beg her grandmother to come up to Maine to pick her up because my father is racist and my family is scary. I had another friend cry and cry. Well, actually, sorry, this one didn't cry. This one just said, "I will. You can come over and visit, but I do not want to come by your house anymore." My mother said it's not allowed. I asked why. They said it's fine for you to be seen with me, but we don't want to be anything to do with your mother. I said why? They said because your mother was screaming like a lunatic up and down the street, and me and my mother know that you asked for permission because we were there. We were there when you asked for permission. I said, I know. I asked my mother for permission to go to your house. And then we played all good. And everything went great. What's the problem? Your mother was driving up and down the street, screaming like a lunatic, and then screaming like you didn't get permission, even though I was there and you did. I said, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's my mother. She does stuff. She likes to turn good stuff into bad. See, I made a new friend. That's a good accomplishment. A kid from school came to my driveway and I did everything good. I asked for permission to go. I went. It went good. And now I'm coming home. But see, my mother had to turn that into, he's running away. And because my mother was always doing this crazy stuff, like turning my swimming medals into something, or turning my play date into something else, or she's acting mentally ill again, or she's popping pills, or she's drinking alcohol, because of all this stuff going on, yes, all my friends ran away as soon as they met my mother, but then they would want me to go to their house. A lot of the times it was just too far away. I didn't drive. I still don't drive at the age of 31. I'm still invited though. A lot of these people still call me and say, Zach, come over. Zach, come on, come on. And I'm like, I don't drive. 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 Can you pick me up? No, that's too far. Can you pick me up? No, that's too far. Can you pick me up? Yeah, but it might be a little bit. Yeah, you can pick me up. Yeah, I don't drive either. That's a lot of the answers I get. But during childhood, there was never anybody. All the way to age 21, I had nobody to drive but Dan, who was one of my bosses, basically, a friend of the family. He definitely wasn't somebody who was like gonna drive to come see me in the middle of the night. But that's the only person that had a vehicle that could see me at 2 in the morning was a guy named Dan Beaudry. And he would never be crawling around the house at 2 in the morning trying to sneak by my doorway to go sit in my bedroom. That would be ridiculous. But my mother thinks that this is what's going on. My mother thinks that there's little elf people that make no noise walking through the hallways at night. And somehow they're invited by Zach. And so my mother really did this. She woke me up in the middle of the night telling me that she saw little shadow men going through the hallways and that it's probably one of my friends. And then I told her, I have no friends over. I'm trying to sleep and you just woke me up. I don't know what you're seeing, but you better get a baseball bat if you're really seeing people. Because it's either there's a robber in the house or mom is still acting crazy. Dad, did you hear anybody in the house? No. Did you see anybody in the house? No. Because I didn't see anybody in the house and I wake up like a feather. So I'm right next to there too. I would hear them. Plus, what are they stealing up here? What do we have that's so valuable upstairs? Wouldn't we hear them taking the TV downstairs or something? What the hell is going on? Plus, if I had friends, we would hang out in the garage or outside. We definitely wouldn't be trying to sneak up a fucking flight of stairs that squeak and make noises. So whatever mom is dealing with, it's a mental illness. She's seeing things that aren't there, Dad. Mom is seeing things that aren't there. But instead of giving them all that, they jump down my throat and I don't get a chance to speak. I say, Mom, you're seeing things that aren't there. It's just probably the TV running or something that you heard before or who knows what it is. But it's nobody's here. And all my father had to do was agree with me and everything would have been done. But instead, my mother goes into fairyland going, no, you have some friends around here, I bet. Oh, yeah, those shadow people are your friends. That's what's really going on. Yeah, all those shadow people I see out of the corner of my eyes at night, that's really your friends walking around the hallway. What friends are walking around the hallway? You scared all my friends off, Mom. Congratulations. I have no friends. So there is nobody. You think Dan Beaudry is driving all the way here to walk around the hallway? You think it's Dan Beaudry? Huh? You think it's Seth Newell? Do you think that? Because those are the only two people willing to come by here. That's it. All my other friends, the one in Derry, the other ones, all my friends from school, none of them drive. None of them would ever come to see you. And the other friends I did have in the neighborhood, I can go to their house. They can't come to my house. It's that simple. And a lot of my friends' parents want me to keep it a secret so that you don't even know about it. I mean, this is so bad. My mother's such a bad mother that other mothers want our play dates to be secret from my mother. I mean, my mother was acting. My mother's so bad that I had teacher aides and teachers say, you poor kid, your mother's a loony, after having a 3-day battle with her. Yes, my mother would have 3-day battles with the school. First, she would try to have a 3-day battle so that she could write notes back and forth to them. And then she would have a battle once a month about one of the notes. And this was at like age 14, 15, for goodness sake. This was really bad with my mother. And now we're going to go into the streets that I'll be living on again. So why am I getting thrown to the streets and off the grid? Well, it's because I have a job, but my parents and my father had not chosen to tell the truth. It's that simple. If my father and mother had told the truth about the overdose and about the falls and brought me to see lots of physical doctors and stopped moving me around, and if my mother wasn't taking evasive action to get away with a crime she committed, then I would be all set right now. There would be no problem. But because my mother and father decided to make up fake mental illnesses and then ignore and try to hide a real physical illness that everybody is seeing, I'm literally shaking, falling down, bumping in the furniture. My coordination sucks. I can't throw it right. I'm falling down here. I mean, just I'm trying to watch a fireworks show and I fall down screaming in pain. Something's going on in the cold. I can't get up when I move. At certain times, Zach is stubborn and he refuses to move his body. Like at times, like for instance, we went to York Beach. We sat down. I'm in nothing but shorts, but it gets chilly. Now everybody else is in as skinny as me, so they don't realize it. Then they start putting on nice little windbreakers and saying it's time to leave. They start leaving the beach, but now I can't leave. My legs are stuck. No matter how many times I send the signal to my legs to get up, I'm stuck. Because 20 minutes prior, my arms got stuck with the pail in it. I'm having troubles. I feel really stiff. My whole body is stiff, and I can't quite get my legs to stand up. How old am I? About age 7. This is when we lived in Westford, and we went to visit an aunt named Alice, and we just visited her on York or Salisbury or something like that. This was where they have the. Ooh, I think this might be not the one with the arcade. I really don't remember at this point, but that's not important. The important part is that I could not move my legs. But see, my mother just got mad, so she left me there. But then she realized I'm not coming running after her because I have a medical condition, and just because you torture me doesn't make the medical condition go away. You can burn me, you can trip me, you can play games with me, you can make fun of me. It doesn't matter. My disability is not magically disappearing for you fuckers. I'm not a dancing monkey that's trying, oh, I'm a dancing monkey and it's all going to get better when I snap my fingers now. No, that's not what I am for you people. I'm a person with a disability who deserves respect because I'm a human being like any other person. But instead, that respect is completely laughed upon because I have a funny voice and I'm disabled and I stutter and sometimes the signal for a word comes out sounding funny. But they don't laugh if they're on the ground bleeding. If somebody is on the ground bleeding like you are, if you level the playing field, then they're not laughing no more. Now they're violently mad. Now they want to kill you because now they're feeling your pain. So that's a big problem there too, is that people they love picking on a disabled man if they sound funny and don't have documentation. But a man in the wheelchair we would never do that. We would never make fun of somebody who's disabled. Well, unless it was a really funny disability. Shit like that happens all the time just in general. Well, on the streets, what I started this with is it's very important to have your tent next to an emergency room for many reasons. So when I go off the grid and my mother and father make sure that I have to live like an animal again, this time around, I'm going to have to put my living situation in the woods next to an emergency room. Now, keep in mind that there is no place for homeless people to live like me. We have to stay walking for the rest of our lives. I'm not allowed to use a shelter. I'm not allowed to sleep on a sidewalk. The only places I'm legally allowed to sleep are Boston, New York, California, LA, and some of the big cities. Now, you might be wondering, why can you sleep in New York and not Lowell? Because okay, let me reverse that. The big cities, New York City and Boston, are the only, okay, Boston is the only city in Massachusetts where you're allowed to sleep on the sidewalk. I'm not kidding. In Boston, if you want to sleep on a bench or a sidewalk, they actually will not give you time in prison. But if you go to Lowell, Massachusetts instead, and you try to sleep on a bench in front of a church, or you try to sleep in a public park, or you try to sleep in a cemetery that's open to the public at night, you will be arrested. You absolutely will be arrested. If you try to sleep in an ATM, but you get up every time anybody comes by and you just leave the ATM, you hear the door open, so you get up and go, oh, let me get out of here. And then you just go to a different one, you will be arrested. If you try to sit down on a bench for too long and just rest while sitting for a couple hours, you will be arrested. If you are trying to stay anywhere outdoors at night, you will be arrested. If you try to go to the shelter and you don't have documentation of your disability, you will be refused the shelter. Even though the police will tell you that's illegal, it's not illegal as long as it's done because they say you're a shithead. As long as they call your disabilities stubbornness, and as long as people call you a shithead, they can get away with it. So just like how my mother would call my swimming medal something, all they have to do is say my seizure bleeding out on the floor, that the ambulance pulled me out and I'm coming back, is something as well. Oh, he's just stubborn, he's making it up, whatever. As long as this continues, this fucking behavior of literally victim blaming somebody with a disability. Now, nobody's ever going to believe me that I have this disability until we get medical paperwork. The big problem here is I have 25 years of lots of mental illness paperwork, but we have nothing on this. My father has made it so nobody is ever gonna fucking help me or believe me because they've already made sure of it. This was way out of my hands. My father and mother already made decisions. I can't take back their decisions. I have to work towards my own decisions. The problem with that is the decision I'm working towards is bringing me in a loop. I want to drive a car, but I need a car to get my disabilities handled, to drive a car. Yes, I have disabilities and I'm trying to get those handled, but I need a car to get some of those handled. But to get a car, I need my disabilities handled. But my disabilities need to be handled. But I want to go to a shelter, but then they discriminate against me because I'm not moving, or I'm falling down, or I'm not able to wake up in time on all the pharmaceuticals, or there's some problem with the doctors, my body, or the pharmaceuticals, or my health, or the neurological disorder. So they just discriminate against me and throw my ass to the street every time. Like I have a choice in the matter if my leg moves or not. I'm telling my legs to move and I fell on my nose. I'm stuck here for a moment. I got myself back up in the chair. Give me a moment to try to rub my legs and do some leg pumps. I'm sure the next time I stand up, it will work and I'll just look funny to you. Then after I walk funny for a while, I'll probably just be fine. But this is how I have to do, and it's not a game. It's not something I enjoy. When I go on a date with a girl and they see this, I don't fucking like it. When I'm playing basketball and I fucking can't shoot the basketball in the hoop and I have to pass it to somebody else, I don't like that. You think I like being the guy that always passes the ball? You think I don't want to be the guy shooting the ball? But I've been the guy shooting the ball and my arm spasms. So we can't be the guy shooting the ball. You think that I do this stuff on purpose when it fucking costs me money? No. I don't do any of this shit on purpose. It's called a disability for a fucking reason. They call it uncontrollable muscle movements for a reason. The reason why spasms and seizures and uncontrollable muscle movements have under the definition uncontrollable, there's a reason why it's called that. And when I lose control, lose the ability to use my legs, there's a reason why they call it loss of ability. But yet you guys all want it to be, oh, he can jump up and be our jumping monkey. Yes, Zach Newell is the Newell family's jumping monkey. Yeah, we had him jumping like a monkey for 15 years, and now he's jumping like a monkey again. And now we're going to have him in a tree, living outdoors like an animal, jumping like a monkey for us some more, trying to keep our secret for us. Yes, yes, yes. Let's try to bury this secret. We don't want Zach actually getting help after 25 years of suffering. We can't have Zach getting help. No, because then the family might be smart. Maybe then people know about what happened to him. Oh my God, we can't have people knowing what happened to Zach. We can't have people knowing that his mother was giving him pills inappropriately. Oh my God, no. Well, let's have them knowing that our son is dead. That's much better. Our son died at the age of 34 years old, and that's much better than our son needs help with a disability because of his dead mother. That is so much better. Let's just have our son die of exposure, or somehow he gets stabbed, or maybe he freezes to death, or maybe he can't take the multiple freezes to death, so he hangs himself as he freezes to death. Who knows what happened? But then we can just read in the obituary he's dead, and we can laugh and go, and we can have a nice party. We can even throw a nice little party. Yeah, I mean, come on, it's Zach's funeral. Let's have a good time. Zach would want us to get drunk. He would want us to have a good time. Let's get drunk. Yeah. And so then they all get drunk and they go, this is much better. This is much better. Zach's funeral at 34 is much better than having to actually hug him and bring him to the doctors, and he gets better and he opens up his own business, or he works and makes some money and gets an apartment, or he takes care of some other old man or old lady that belongs to a church. Or no, we don't need any of that. We don't need all the good deeds that Zach's going to do in his lifetime. We don't need him alive talking. No, he talks too much. No, he needs to die already. The stuff we forced upon him, because the stuff. Why am I bringing this up now? I'm not. I brought this up at 16. I brought this up at 18. I brought this up at age 7. I brought this up at age 9. They all knew about it. My whole family knew about it. My sister knew about it. My sister knew that my mother was giving me medications inappropriately. And my sister knew my mother was acting nutty. My brother knew my mother was acting nuts and that I was on pharmaceuticals. They all knew. And I was complaining to doctors too. I complained to doctors about all different types of side effects. So the doctors knew about some of my complaints. But you know what the problem is? Nobody ever did anything. Nobody ever did anything but me. I spoke up at the doctors and I gave honest answers. That's the only thing I have to go on today. When I go to look at past records, all I have to go on are doctor records from me. My mother bullshitting, my father's moving me around the country with my mother. Now I need help with seizures and a neurological disorder that's been going on for 25 years. I've worked for 25 years to get better and figure out how to get better. And no matter how many times I take drugs like Seroquel, Thorazine, Lamictal, whatever else you can add in, Risperidone, lithium, everything in the book, it just made me all worse. It never helped with the shakes. It never helped when I moved my hand, my foot spasms. It never helped with me going unconscious on the floor and waking up bloody. It never helped with my coordination with writing my name. It never helped with me running down the street and having my leg not spasm and trip me. It never helped with the bumping in the furniture and my shins not getting bloody. But then, epilepsy medication I tried. And oh my God, 80% improvement. Oh my God. Why does epilepsy medication work so well on me? And then I tried Ativan for a seizure. And oh my God, it's helped me with my legs and I can walk better. Ativan helps me walk better after a seizure. It improves my neurological condition when it gets worse. Okay. And then CBDV works great on me. Also for epilepsy. Whoa. But all stimulants make me worse. Okay, so caffeine makes me worse. Even though I'm a smoker, cigarettes do make me worse. Okay, so we know stimulants make my epileptic disorder worse, and we know epileptic medication like Triliptal makes me better. And we know Lamictal, Seroquel, Trazodone, Thorazine, all those type of meds make me worse, along with the caffeine and the stimulants. So we know my mother was just drugging me with drugs I didn't need, and we know she was making up stories. And when I went to the doctors had little care about what I was saying. I was just saying I needed help with anxiety, sleep, and that's it. And then I just wanted to keep my Ritalin for ADHD. But all I really needed was like a Valium for bedtime, and or an Ativan for bedtime and an Ativan in the afternoon, and I would have been fine. That's it. Ritalin in the morning, Ativan in the afternoon, Ativan at night, and I would have been fine all through my childhood. Instead, we got me on 8 little prescriptions, all hurting me, all based upon my mother's information. And what's even worse is my mother started this down this line, and was advising me what's wrong with me. So she's getting me to repeat things at the doctor's office. For years, all the way until I was age 18, 19, my mother was the one advising the doctors. So that doesn't go away. All those medical records stay the same. And I didn't know until I was 24 what my mother did to me. I had no idea what she was doing to me. Knew it all was wrong. I knew it hurt. I was sick. I knew these things were bad. But what do you call it when your mother gives you a handful of pills and you get sick? What do you call it when your mother makes up stories about you and lies? All I know is that she's a liar. My mother's lying about me. That's all I told the therapist that. I told my worker that. I told my father that. I told my brother that. I told everybody that. My mother is lying about me. They all knew that. That didn't change anything. My mother was still drugging me. She was still smacking me with the ruler. And she still was making up stories about me to doctors, getting me drugged on false information. And then I have to learn how to live outside. What this video was supposed to be about, but I got cut off in the original cut.